Hey, Foundry students, it's Monday, March 16th, and we are in a pandemic. And that's a whole new thing, at least for me. I haven't ever experienced anything like this, and so I'm assuming you haven't as well. And so we've got some questions and some concerns, and what about church? And so I just wanted to kind of address some of those things this morning and just kind of create a spot for us to connect with one another and to talk about Jesus and to encourage each other and to continue to grow in our faith, even if we can't get together collectively. So first of all, this morning, I just wanted to express empathy to each of you. I know that everything is shut down, like school, like UIL stuff, sports. I don't know if your parents are being like some parents and not letting you get together with friends. Just the world just seems like it's at a standstill, and that's actually probably what makes it feel scarier than just the news reports. Is just the shutting down and the isolation factor of that. And I just want to remind you that they're doing that to keep this from spreading, to help people that may not have as strong of immune systems, and just to have the smallest death toll possible with this disease. And so it's an act of solidarity, which is something that we're not used to in this country. We are very independent in America, but it really is this mindset of us rather than I, and we rather than me. And so if you can keep that in mind and realize that, yes, it's an inconvenience to you and to me to not be able to get together and not be able to do the things we like to do, but it is really an act of honor for others. So I just encourage you in that. And then I just wanted to tell you about a dream I had last night. It was very weird, and I thought you might just be interested in hearing about it. I was getting on like a roller coaster at maybe Six Flags, something like that, but the roller coaster itself was made of sand, which is super weird, and it had just holes that you would step down into, and it was about waist high. And when you got into the hole, then the ride would start. And so I was in a cart with another young man, and he was just having a blast. Like, some guys just get really excited at amusement parks and act extra crazy and, just ramp it up. And that's what he was doing. He was like, I didn't want to ride this thing. And it's called the Trencher. That was the name of this ride. And then, so anyway, he's in this trencher, and so am I, and he starts, screaming that he doesn't want to be in it. And then you can tell that he's going from play acting that he doesn't want to be in it to actually not wanting to be in it and being very frightened because he feels suction coming up from underneath him, pulling him down into this. And I can see him starting to suck away. Like, it was very gross in my dream. Like, you just started to see pieces of his flesh sucking downward away. And I was trying to like reach over and help him, and I couldn't do anything. He's, grabbing at the sand around it, and it's sand. So you grab and it just, moves through your fingers. And so he was being sucked away. And then all of a sudden I realized that I was being sucked away as well. I could feel it start at my toes and come up my legs and just all the tissue on my arms. I could feel it sucking me down, and it was very, very scary. And I woke up in a panic, and Rob woke up and was like, hey, and then, when you've had such a bad dream and it was so real that you could not go back to sleep afterwards, that's exactly what happened to me. I knew that if I fell back asleep that I would just slide back into the dream, and the ride that I was on, and I didn't want to return to that place. And so I wound up, just getting up earlier and spending time with the Lord. But as I did that, I came across this scripture, and it's Psalm 121. It's probably a psalm that's really, really familiar to you, but it says, I lift up my eyes to the mountain. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And so I was thinking about my dream and the trencher, and how the man was, looking down and kind of excited about going on this ride, and then it went horribly wrong, and he got sucked in. And next to him, I started to get sucked in too. And I realized that we walk around all day like this, right? And especially in this season of, panic and chaos that we have seen on the media, social media, and, news media alike, we're all looking down right now. Like, this is going to save us, and this is going to tell us what we need to do next. And this is, going to going to make a difference, right? But I felt like this morning, God was like, no, look up. Your help comes from me, from the Lord, from the maker of heaven and earth. And so looking down is only going to suck us in, and that's ultimately going to destroy us. Maybe not physically, but I think you've already probably experienced the effects of watching this all the time, reading this all the time. Like, we just lose pieces of ourselves to it, and it steals our peace. And I think we're in a place as a nation right now that we're really struggling to hang on to our peace. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going to find peace on this device. You're going to find peace in this book. You're going to find peace when you look up. And so one of the easiest ways for us to look up is through worship. It's considerably easier than reading the Bible if you're not accustomed to reading the Bible for yourself on a regular basis. But because of that, I've just started playing worship music a lot, which I listen to worship music usually anyway, but just keeping it on to keep redirecting my thoughts up instead of down, to keep my eyes looking up. And so Pastor Rob and I, just over the weekend, have been talking and praying about how we could help in this, how we could be an encouragement in this season, even though we can't get together and have pizza and hang out and play carpet ball and all those things. We can't do that, but we can still encourage each other. So this morning, Pastor Rob made a YouTube page for the Foundry, which has been on our list of things to do, but we're stocking it right now with what we're calling a pandemic playlist. And so that is going to be a worship list for you to just go over to YouTube and hit play and just help you look up, help you get off that screen and look up at the Lord and trust Him to move in our situation. You guys, He's been faithful to 1,000 generations. That's what His word says. And so we need to trust that He's going to be faithful to us as well. So I encourage you to subscribe to that YouTube page. We're going to be adding content to it on a regular basis, especially right now while we won't be meeting on Wednesday nights. I don't know how long that's going to be. I kind of liken this whole thing to when there's a hurricane out on the Gulf and like the news is just like, oh, it's going to be really terrible, or oh, it's not going to be bad. And then it comes and like, we really don't know what it's going to be until after it's happened and after it's blown over. And I think that's where we're at with this pandemic. We don't know how bad it's going to be until it's in the rearview mirror. And so until then, we just need to pray. We need to be wise. We need to be safe. We need to encourage each other, and we'll see what happens as it continues. Maybe it'll just die out. It's one of those things that the more we respond to it now, it would be way better to get on the other side of the thing and go, oh, that wasn't nearly the big deal we thought it was, rather than not responding and not taking precautionary measures and then going, wow, we wish we had done more to save lives. So I hope that you're all home and safe and well stocked, and we'll be in touch. All right. God bless and have a great Monday.